Good morning, everyone. On this 19th week in Ordinary Time, we are beginning the book of Ezekiel, the prophet Ezekiel. It is in chapter 1, verses 2 through 5, and then verses 24 through 28c. On the 5th day of the 4th month of the 5th year, that is, of King Jehoiakim's exile, the word of the Lord came to the priest Ezekiel, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar. There the hand of the Lord came upon me. As I looked, a storm wind came from the north, a huge cloud with flashing fire enveloped in brightness, from the midst of which, the midst of the fire, something gleamed like an electrum. Within it were figures resembling 4 living creatures that looked like this. Their form was human. Then I heard the sound of their wings, like the roaring of mighty waters, like the voice of the Almighty. When they moved, the sound of the tumult was like the din of an army. And when they stood still, they lowered their wings. Above the firmament, over their heads, something like a throne could be seen, looking like sapphire. Upon it was seated above all one who had the resemblance of a man. Upward from what resembled his waist, I saw what gleamed like electrum. Downward from that resembled his waist, I saw look like fire. He was surrounded with splendor. Like the bow which appears in the clouds on a rainy day was the splendor that surrounded him. Such was the vision of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, we're involved in this great book of Ezekiel, and we have to get a little bit of background about this. There was the first exile of those to Babylon, and that was in the year 605, and in part of that whole group was Daniel, and which we're mostly familiar with. Then there was a second exile in 597, and Ezekiel is part of that one. Now, worship is still going on in Jerusalem. There is still things going on, but there's also a lot of concern about what's going on there back home. And that's what part of what Ezekiel's ministry is going to be about. And then there's going to be the final exile that will happen when virtually everyone is going to be brought into captivity to Babylon, and that will be in the year 587. So this is the year in which Ezekiel is telling us about when this vision happens, and doing some calculations, we can figure it out that he was about the year 30, the year in which he would then serve as a priest in the temple. So this would have been a very important year for him, a year in which he would be probably anticipating if he was back home in Jerusalem. But he's not back home. But something else is given to him, a vision that is given of the Almighty God. And over in this vision is this one little word, like. Like. You probably heard it several times. Something like a throne could be seen. Upward from that resembled his waist. I saw like electrum. Over and over is this word like. And it's the idea that God is so beyond this. So all I can do is kind of describe something like this. So the presence of God is described, which is indescribable, is described like a human. So this is what Ezekiel is saying. We see similarities in the book of Revelation. There's kind of a correlation what John sees when he has his vision of glory, and this is what Ezekiel is saying. So they're very much very similar in their appearance in this. What I take from this, there's obviously all kinds of things that could be described, but what I take from this is especially the person of Ezekiel. He obviously was disappointed in what could have been. But God gave him something better, and that was a vision. And sometimes what we think is the best isn't always the best. God has something else in store for us. Let's trust in him. Stay safe, folks. Hopefully we'll see each other soon. Bye for now.